Hi friends, my name is Marie van Holsentop and I'm a florist turned farmer florist where I grow my own flowers on about a quarter-acre of total garden space in Zone 8B, Southwest British Columbia, Canada. It's early June here and the gardens are bursting with all the beautiful spring flowers, and summertime flowers are just around the corner, so it's a really great time of year to be growing flowers for floral design. I'm about to make a sweet little bouquet for a grade 8 graduate. So her parents are wanting to present her with something special after her grad. And I thought I would show you what I'm going to make because it's a little bit different from something I might be making for a really special anniversary where I'm going for size, or for my farm stand where I'm going for a different style of quick assembly market style bouquet. So this particular bouquet, because it's for a young lady who's just finishing grade 8, I'm wanting to create something that's a little bit more youthful, that's a little bit more boutique-y style. It's a little bit shorter and wider style, something kind of almost like more of what you might think of a posy, just something a little bit cuter and more appropriate for a kiddo who is finishing grade 8. So I thought I would bring you along as I work on this. So I have, true to form, quite a few different ingredients on my table today to put into this bouquet. But what I've done is picked kind of a fun and bright and cheery color palette to reflect sort of a young teenager. So what I've gone with is I have some beautiful seasonal Alchemilla, one of my favorite fillers this time of year. Also dries amazing, so I love growing a great big patch of this in my field. I have some adorable feverfew. I just thought that she would appreciate these tiny little daisy-like flowers. I have some calendula, one of my favorite fillers that I'm using right now, and it has the added bonus of these fun blooms that last a long time. Now, if you're watching this and you've seen a few of my later videos that I've done, particularly around the wedding flowers, if you've been following that journey, you'll notice that a lot of the flowers that are going into this bouquet are flowers that are carrying over from everything I've grown for this wedding. I have some beautiful Sarah Bernhardt peonies. These are going to open up really quite hugely, and they're just a beautiful soft pink. Something that I love to include in a special bouquet, a little bit of a surprise, are Icelandic poppies. This one here, you can see it's about to start opening, but most of these are still just sort of cracking, and so they'll sort of slowly open over the next day or so in the bouquet and kind of just bring that little bit of surprise and wildness. I have some gorgeous Potomac dark orange snapdragons. I have silene blushing lanterns, just a little bit of it, just for that fun and dainty, unusual texture and an unusual ingredient that people may not expect. Because I only have 3 peonies, I have 5 nigrum alliums that I'm probably going to put in. I tend to be working in 3s when I'm putting bouquets together, partly because I use so many different ingredients, but I'm probably going to be centering one of these because I'm going for more of a symmetrical, rounded, kind of French style hand tie for this one. I have lots of sweet pea vine. I love using sweet pea like this. So I leave some of the tendrils on, some of the foliage on. It's just a beautiful, wonderful filler. So I have lots of this. I also have lots of just sweet peas on pretty long stems. So these will be going throughout the bouquet just to bring that beautiful texture and fragrance. This is, again, if you've been following my wedding video flowers, you probably know by now, this is called Piggy Sue, this particular sweet pea. And I have a few adorable little pansies that are just tall enough, I think, for the height of the bouquet that I'm going to be going for today. So if you've seen some of my other spiral bouquet videos, you know I'll flip and flop between a few different methods, and I do tend to do a lot of modified spirals where I'm starting with kind of like a foliage base and then poking flowers in through the base. So I thought I would show you a different way to do it today. So what I'm gonna do first is grab one of my alliums, one that's fairly straight up and down, and because I have 5 of these, I'm gonna be trying to get one of these into the middle of the bouquet. And then I'm gonna just start layering on my filler flowers at an angle, always at like a 45-ish degree angle. I'm just layering those on, and I'm holding that between my thumb and my finger. And once I've put a few stems on from this side, so I'm just putting in a few different fillers here. Now I'm going to rotate my bouquet so that I can keep doing that, adding more on as I go. Putting some sweet peas in because I have a lot of sweet peas, so I want them interspersed throughout. And another thing I can do is put a sweet pea in from this way without even having to rotate my bouquet. I can just open my fingers and slide this in, but you can see that it's still upholding the same angle. I'm not putting it in this way. I'm keeping a spiral, so I'm putting it always, these stems always on in the same direction. So now that I have a bit of a base, and I'm not too fussed about this at this point, I'm not too fussed about the heights of things. I just want to get a base going, and I can always raise and lower flowers as I go because I'm putting them in a spiral, so they'll slide up and down really easily. So now that I have a bit of a base, I want to keep in mind that I have some focal flowers. I have 3 peonies. I want to have them spaced out appropriately and symmetrically for this particular bouquet. So I'll be putting those in as I go. So again, rotating and just continue building up. You can see I'm using a lot of calendula as I go here and sweet peas because I have quite a few of those. Those are my main fillers. And the calendula is really kind of a nice thing to work with because it's branchy. So it just helps to fill out the bouquet with sort of almost, the foliage is also pretty. Now, one thing I want to point out is the height at which I'm holding the flowers. So you can see that I'm holding them quite high up. There's not a lot of floral above my hand and the binding point, which is where all of these stems are going to meet here, where we're going to tie the bouquet off, is called the binding point. So you can see I'm holding this bouquet quite high up. Now I'm not holding it very tightly. My hand is very loose, but as I go, that's kind of the look I'm wanting. Is I want things a little bit more closer together, and I'm designing with less air than I may be for a market bouquet where I would probably be holding my stems way down here, or a bouquet where I'm adding a lot of height or large ingredients. So what I'm going for here is really something a little more cute and dainty, and I really want my eventual bouquet height to be quite short and more European, essentially. I'm gonna put in a couple of my vines here, but a lot of my more linear elements, so botanicals with linear elements, more of a linear quality to them, these I'm saving more for the exterior, for more of the outside of the bouquet. So I have, you know, roughly a bit of a base here, and now I'm going to put in my 3 peonies. I feel like I'm at the point where I can put my peonies in and they're going to be far enough apart where I want them. So a couple more sweet peas to even out the placements. Now I'm going to grab my peonies. Now you can see I've cleaned all of my stems really quite high up in preparation for this because I knew that I would be holding my bouquet up quite high. So I can't be having all of those leaves down in my hands and getting all mushed up and potentially dirtying up the water. So now I'm just going to choose where I'm putting my peonies and basically find spots for them that are fairly equidistant apart here. So there you go. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to continue on adding other ingredients. So I have these cute little styling stems So I'm gonna put these in now because I'm cognizant of the fact that I only have 3 of those. So again, I just kind of want them dispersed somewhat evenly throughout. Now you can see I am not rotating my bouquet. I'm putting a lot of things in without moving my bouquet around, which it just is faster, but if you need to rotate, you can. And here I'm going to just slide this stem in more towards the back because I want it back here. So I'm sliding it in like this and positioning it where I want it. I love these pops of green in any bouquet. You can't really go wrong with Alchemilla. It's so fresh and it really will match anything. So I have no problem putting that in pretty much any bouquet that I'm making. Here's another bonus of using a spiral. My battery on my camera just ran out, so I had to get a new battery. So because I've spiraled my stems, they're sort of locked in place. They're sort of holding each other together. And so I could just put my bouquet down, sort out my battery, and get set back up. And then I can just pick my bouquet up and carry on where I left off. So I want to just get some of my little pansies in at this point because I do want some of them visible more towards the middle of the bouquet. And you can see I've actually got a fairly substantial bouquet going on now. So if I start putting my pansies in now on an angle, as I talked about, they're all going to be kind of around this outside of this little circle I've made. So I just want to show you one thing you can do. And again, this is because I'm spiraling. What I can do is take one of my pansy stems and I'm going to basically just gently open up my spiral. And this allows me to actually slip my stem deeper into the bouquet, place it at the same angle as everything else, but it's slipped inside the spiral, and then close up my stems. And now my little pansy is right in the middle of this bouquet. So I'm gonna do that with another one. So again, I'm just gonna open up the bouquet a little bit, slip my pansy inside the spiral, lay the stem along the spiral and close it up again. And now my little pansy is more on the inside of the bouquet. So that's a great way to get stem placements more specifically, rather than what you'll often see me doing is sliding a stem down and into a bouquet. I do this a lot, but one of the downsides of doing that is that you can cause damage to the stems that you already have going on. So this is a great alternative method. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time. Open up my spiral a bit, jiggle my stem in there, and close that up again. So now I have some pansies that are actually visible. So I really want these to be noticeable in this bouquet because it's such a neat addition. All right, so what I have left on my table, I have a couple of pansies, I have some calendula, I have a couple of, or one feverfew as well still. I have some sweet peas, I have some alliums, some snapdragons, and some poppies. So a lot of what I just mentioned are things that I'm gonna basically frame out the rest of the bouquet with. But again, I have these poppies and I really want these to be interspersed in the bouquet. And so again, I'm gonna use that exact method I just used with the pansies and slide some of these guys deeper in to the bouquet as well. Now I want the poppies to kind of be floaters a little bit. They're such a neat flower that way. They're gonna come and sit a little higher up. But again, this bouquet is more of a boutique-y sort of style. And so I'm not going for some crazy asymmetrical height in this one, as you often see me doing. So I'm gonna keep everything just a little bit more contained than I might normally do. And again, just including these more in bud form, they're gonna open up and it's almost a bit of a surprise for the recipient. They're gonna open up as they go, but also that is just gonna help get a better vase life out of them as well. Poppies, really, Icelandic poppies aren't the longest lasting flower, and so it's nice to, I'm gonna fuss here. I put 3 orange ones all on one side of the bouquet. I'm actually gonna fuss about a bit and move this one over here so that they're more, when they open up, they're more symmetrical. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go along and start filling in. So I'll put in a little bit more calendula here. I love the little greenery that it adds. Really pretty. You can see I included in lots of different forms. I find it lasts a long time, but the bud form, obviously, including lots of bud, those will have a chance to still open up in the vase and really last a nice long time, as opposed to some of the other more riper ones. So I like to include a variety for something like this. Feverfew is a great one too. It just sort of floats in the spaces, just sort of floats there and fills things out. Really fun. So as I go here, I'm paying a lot of attention now to the roundness and the evenness of my shape. So I don't know if you can see, this side here is more filled in right now. This side here is not. I need to add some more material on this side. I can also lower a few stems to sort of help fill that out. All right, and I'm just gonna get some of my alliums. I still have 4 alliums in, so I wanna make sure those are dispersed in here because I did have 5. I do kind of wanna set them up evenly. They're just gonna help enhance that uniformity that I'm looking for. Couple of pansies left. And I'm just gonna fill in now with sweet peas as I finish this off. I'm gonna lower the sides here and basically frame this bouquet in. The snaps are gonna come into play now. And these beautiful tendrils of sweet pea. It's also a great way to handle sweet peas for bouquets if you're not getting long enough stems on your sweet peas. It's a fun way to incorporate them still and be able to use them. So I do this a lot where I cut the vine. The main thing I find with that is just to make sure that they have a good long chance to drink. Otherwise they can be a bit wilty, where the leaves and the vine part will be a bit wilty. So I do like to cut those and give them a full, either overnight to sit and drink or a full day where I cut them in the morning where they're nice and fresh. Whoops, lost one. Okay, so I'm just continuing around and around now and adding those sweet peas in and moving other stems down lower now as I form kind of a rounded shape here. Very meadowy, very pretty. And youthful, I think, and so great for a young lady's grad. That's good. I think pretty much have used almost everything except that I have a couple of sweet pea vines left. One more long sweet pea that can go in here. All right, so now you can see how short the bouquet actually is. It's going more into what you would do for a bridal. You can see that I'm holding it quite high up. So now I'm just gonna trim that. And again, now I'm gonna be trimming the stem length proportionally. So I'm not gonna trim it way out here. I wanna kind of basically do about a third. So when you're doing spirals, typically what you're wanting is a third. So 2/3 are the flowers, and then there's a third below the binding point. Of course, if that's bridal, it's better to even go shorter and really reduce the stem length so that the bouquets can be held properly. But for this, I just want a nice, proportional, adorable, pretty little bouquet. Now, as always, I will tend to tie with sisal for something like this. And I've got quite a few stems here, so I want to go around a few times nice and securely. And there we go. Just a cute and youthful, pretty meadowy bouquet. So I'm going to wrap this one in a little bit of a different style as well. Something that is a little bit different, a little bit more fun. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that as well. All right, so what I have are a couple of pieces of tissue and a couple of pieces of rectangular paper. You can see it's longer than it is wide. And I'm going to wrap this in a way that feels kind of like it's too big. So I'm going to place, using my binding point as a guide, to the base of the papers. You can see in a moment here how there's way too much paper extending above the flowers, but that is my goal for this first step. And I'm just laying my bundle down and lifting up the edges of the paper around this bouquet like this till I've got it all covered. And I want this fairly loose. I don't want to get too tight around here in the top part. So I want to leave, if I can, a little bit more space than I normally might. You can see now how strange this really looks. Don't worry, this is not the finished look. When I grab a bucket or a vase, I've got kind of a great vase size that works great for hand ties. And the point is, I want to have something that I can put my bouquet in and just have it be able to sit there nice and securely for this next step. So now what I'm going to do is start rolling down my edges, crumpling and rolling them down all the way around. Sometimes easier to do this if it's sitting on the floor. So if you can see. Staple this off in a few spots as I go. All right, so you can see the effect of that wrap. Basically creates a frame around the bouquet, kind of exaggerates the rounded shape, and just kind of a fun and different way to present the flowers. Okay, and I can tie my tag on here. I can tie a ribbon on here and just check underneath, and if there's any flippy flappy parts like this, I'll tape this up and under. And then to finish it off, I can put my label on it. I can put a little ribbon or food packet on it. So I made a little ribbon loop here. Then I'll just staple that on and get a little bit of ribbon dangling action. Pop my logo on there. And we're done. I hope you enjoyed seeing this idea for a bit of a different approach to a gift bouquet or a grad bouquet. Something that's maybe a little bit more fun and useful and brings along the next generation of flower lovers. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and let me know if you have any questions about any of it. And thanks for watching. I will see you next time.